Do you prefer underdog protagonist or badass, edgy protagonist? Yeah, I guess it depends a lot on the story they're trying to tell, you know? Like, I've seen JRPGs with a certain type of story, and the protagonist is edgy, and it's kind of like cringe. Like, it doesn't work. I mean, I do prefer edgy protagonists, you know? Because I relate more to them. It really depends on the type of story, you know? Sometimes you write a story, and if your protagonist is an underdog, like, it doesn't work. And same with edgy, you know? I'm trying to think of an example right now. Okay, here's one, you know, Fates, Fire Emblem Fates. It had this really underdog, goody, two-shoes, snowflake protagonist, you know? And a story like that, where there's a lot of hatred between two families. I mean, the story of Fire Emblem Fates is bad, but the family feud is interesting. That's an interesting idea. So I think a different type of protagonist, not necessarily edgy or underdog, could have worked. But because they made this shitty protagonist, you know, that is just that dumbass, silly, snowflake piece of shit, a coward, basically, it just doesn't work. It ruins it. So you see what I mean? So sometimes putting an edgy protagonist or a badass or whatever, you know, it just doesn't work. It depends on the story. I mean, edgy protagonists are cool, but because the story is cool, or because they just fit in that story. It makes sense. You know what I mean? Like Berseria, the Tales of Berseria story is great, and it makes sense, right? Because it's a story about revenge. But I don't know, put Velvet in a different situation with an entirely different cast of characters, and it just wouldn't work. It would be cringe, right? But because Velvet had this cast of criminals or politically incorrect or outcasts of characters, you know, and because the story tries to focus from her point of view on how the system is wrong, you know, it worked. So she's a great edgy protagonist, right? Because the story worked. And then there's others, you know, that, I don't know, give me an underdog protagonist right now. Take Stock, for example, from Radiant Historia. I mean, he's not exactly an underdog, but the bad guys kind of start making him look like one, you know, and he has to keep it secret that he can go back in time and alter events it works, right? Because he's doing what he believes is right, given the circumstances, given that the odds are against him, right? So that's a great protagonist. That's a great underdog protagonist. So yeah, that was a great question, man. To answer your question, it needs, for a protagonist to be great, edgy, badass, underdog, silly, charming, whatever, it needs the story. It needs the supporting cast. It's a lot of factors involved on how to make a character great. So, do I prefer a badass, edgy protagonist or an underdog? It depends on the story. Like, I probably would have hated Velvet had she been in a different situation with different characters, with different supporting characters, you know. But she was with the right characters in the right situation, and that's what made her edginess and badassery so great, you know. So I prefer badass and edgy characters, but it really depends on the story. I appreciate a good underdog or silly protagonist, you know, it just depends on the story.